How's it going, Football Daily? Welcome back to Transfer Talk, the show that looks at the biggest and the best gossip from the world of football. Now, Chelsea might be dominating the headlines right now, but today we're discussing the big one. We're starting, though, at the Emirates, where it's become apparent now for a while that Mikel Arteta just doesn't see a future for Ainsley Maitland-Niles at Arsenal. Though he finished the season well by playing the full 90 minutes in both the FA Cup final and semi-final, prior to that he'd really been struggling for any meaningful game time in the league game since football's return. The main problem has been deciding just where to play him. Maitland-Niles wants to be in the midfield, but Arteta prefers him in defence, and in both situations there are players ahead of him in the pecking order. But a solution could well be in sight, with Wolverhampton Wanderers closing in on the young Englishman. Sky Sports and The Guardian are both reporting that a £20 million fee is close to being agreed for the 22-year-old, which would represent a decent bit of business all round. Wolves would sign a hugely versatile player that fits into Nuno Espirito's desire for adaptability within his squad, while Arsenal would get a decent payday to go towards their rebuild. Maitland-Niles may have to play out wing-back in the short term at Wolves, but he could well live out his dreams as a midfielder as João Moutinho gets older. Newcastle United are also said to be interested, but we expect this deal to be sealed very soon. For our next story, we're staying in North London after Tottenham Hotspur were linked with a hugely intriguing move for Benfica star Pizzi. A well-known entity on Football Manager for a number of years, Pizzi looked in danger of failing to live up to his early hype after difficult spells at Atletico Madrid, Deportivo and Espanyol. But since finding a home with Benfica in 2014, the Portuguese winger has never looked back, and over the past 5 seasons has consistently been one of the highest rated players in Liga NOS. Last season proved to be his best to date, scoring a massive 30 times in all competitions and registering a further 19 assists. This has propelled him back into the thoughts of Europe's top clubs, with Portuguese outlet A Bola claiming Tottenham are serious about bringing him to the Premier League. Jose Mourinho always loves an opportunity to link up with a fellow countryman, whilst Pizzi would undoubtedly add some much needed depth to the Lily Whites attack. The only concern really is that the Braga Academy graduate is actually 30 years old already, so wouldn't be a long-term solution. However, if a reasonable fee can be agreed, it might well turn out to be an inspired bit of business by Jose Mourinho. If you're new to the channel and enjoying the transfer rumours, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, because we've got plenty more of this coming your way. Next up, Leeds United have wasted no time at all in becoming regular fixtures on Transfer Talk due to their ambitious plans in the transfer market. Approaches for Jonathan David and Edinson Cavani might have failed, but they've finally found a striker in the shape of Valencia star Rodrigo. The Spaniard has been turning out for Los Che since 2014, though only really rose to prominence in the last 3 seasons. In that period, he's collected 21 caps for Spain, scoring 8 times. But his time on the East Coast has finally come to an end, with Valencia confirming his departure to Leeds on Twitter. The club have already sold Ferran Torres to Manchester City and sent Coquelin and Dani Parejo to Villarreal, the latter on a staggering free transfer. The fee that Leeds owner Andrea Radrizzani is said to have agreed is in the region of €30 million, and he's finally managed to get a top striker to join the club. But overall, is this a good deal? We're not too sure. Rodrigo turns 30 next March and only scored 7 times last season. In fact, he's only scored 59 times in 220 appearances for the club, which isn't exactly prolific. That said, with his international pedigree and experience at the top level, it will definitely add some much needed weight to their attack, and to be honest with you, we just trust in Marcelo Bielsa. Next up, we're heading back to London with Chelsea, where the Blues were already having a transfer window to remember, having captured Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech. But now, they're ready to ramp that up even further, with the quadruple signing of Ben Chilwell, Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva and Malang Sarr. Chilwell and Havertz have long been in Chelsea's sights, and it finally appears that the deals are close to being finalised. Sky Sports claim Havertz will join from Bayer Leverkusen for an initial €80 million, with another €20 million in add-ons, whilst England left-back Chilwell is near to sealing a £50 million move of his own. The Telegraph have even suggested that the 23-year-old will sign a staggering £190,000 a week contract lasting 5 years at Stamford Bridge, although it does say something that Leicester have relaxed their original £80 million price tag. Thiago Silva, meanwhile, is coming in to provide some much needed help to that dodgy Chelsea backline. The Brazilian may well be 35, but that hasn't really stopped him being chased by some big name sides all over Europe, following the end of his 8-year stay in Paris. Luckily for Chelsea, he was determined to move to London, giving the Blues the perfect opportunity to snap him up on a free. Lampard has sanctioned giving him a 1-year deal with an option for an additional season, though Silva would have to take a pay cut on his PSG salary. Thomas Tuchel is reportedly desperate for PSG to re-enter negotiations with the Brazilian, whilst Fiorentina were also interested, but it appears Chelsea have got their man. But that isn't everything. On top of these three, Chelsea are also close to signing former Nice centre-half Malang Sarr. The 21-year-old has run his contract down in France and is keen on joining Lampard's project. However, don't expect to see him jump straight into the starting 11, as it's likely he'll join Fikayo Tomori by heading out on loan to Germany. If all of these deals go through though, it could be one of the greatest transfer windows in Premier League history. And let's not forget, Chelsea is still in the hunt for a goalkeeper, with Mike Maignan on the radar. Next up, we're looking at Kieran Trippier, who could well be on his way back to England after just one season in Spain with Atletico Madrid. The former Tottenham right-back made the switch to the Wanda Metropolitano for an initial £20 million fee, going on to make 33 appearances in all competitions for Los Rojiblancos. In what was a fairly lacklustre campaign for Diego Simeone's side, Trippier actually performed pretty well, but a ridiculed display in their Champions League exit to Leipzig appears to have thrown his future into doubt. The Telegraph have reported that the England international could be made available in the current market, with Aston Villa the immediate favourites to bring him back from the continent. Dean Smith is desperate to improve his defence, having watched his side avoid relegation by the skin of their teeth. As it stands, Frederic Gilbert is their first choice at right back, but hardly featured this season due to injury. It goes without saying then that Trippier would be a substantial improvement on the Frenchman with all his Premier League and international pedigree. Whether Atletico actually want to sell remains to be seen, but the Telegraph believe the West Midlands club are trying to make it happen. The Villains open next season against Sheffield United, and Smith will know they'll be much better off with Kieran Trippier in their ranks. Finally, it's the big one. Sit back and relax, because Lionel Messi has officially handed in a transfer request to leave Barcelona. The club have confirmed it. Now, it is worth noting that this situation is evolving by the minute. So at the time of recording, Bartomeu is still the president, because let's face it, this could be all one big power play to get rid of him by Lionel Messi. But for the sake of argument, let's for this video say he really does want out. And he might well do, because the Argentine legend sent a legal document to the club via fax yesterday in order to get the ball rolling in his exit from the Camp Nou. He's keen to leave the club after a calamitous season and that continued war with Barcelona's president, the aforementioned Bartomeu. Nearly every media outlet on the planet is reporting this transfer request, but it could yet get nasty between Messi and the club and end up in the courts. Messi believes that he should be allowed to leave the club for free, as a clause in his contract states he can leave whenever he wants, as long as he informs the Blaugrana by May the 31st. However, due to the exceptional circumstances this season with COVID, he now believes that date should have been pushed back to August the 31st. Barcelona, on the other hand, argue the clause has expired and will demand a full €700 million buyout clause in his contract from any potential suitor. Luis Suarez and Carlos Puyol have both come out to publicly back the Argentine wizard in a saga that, to be honest with you, is going to seriously hot up over the next 5 weeks. Manchester City are currently leading the race for the 33-year-old, with some reports claiming that the citizens are already preparing an initial package for the player. The Athletic even go as far as to say that Pep Guardiola has already spoken to his former player, with Marcelo Beckler supporting the argument that Messi has chosen City as his destination. City, however, are publicly denying any links, and it would appear that any transfer would only be able to happen if the clause allowing him to leave for free is indeed activated. Wherever Messi ends up though, it won't come cheap. According to Football Leaks, his basic weekly wage is around £1 million a week, with a further £10 million per year in image rights and £13 million in bonuses. Either way, we plan to milk the out of Messi leaving the Camp Nou. So that's the end of transfer talk for another week. If you see any rumours, bang them in the comments below. Barcelona fans, I want to hear from you. Are you raging at your board, or are you raging at Lionel Messi? I'm presuming it will be the first one. Either way, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you later.